friends, and welcome to tonight's whiskey review, which I am dubbing the accursed whiskey review, because it seems that nothing has gone right in trying to record this. First off, there was numerous technical difficulties with my camera and computer, which haven't been resolved. Then I sort of over-poured the whiskey. Then I sort of realized that a fly had landed, a little gnat had landed in my whiskey and immediately drowned and sank to the bottom. Then I noticed that I tried to go and fish it out with the first plastic thing I could find, on my desk here. And then I realized I was fishing it out with the butt end of my razor blade. Which I sniffed, and it doesn't really smell like it has any residue on it. So I'm hoping that it hasn't affected the flavors too much. Or at all. Really, it only smells of the stuff towards the head of the blade anyway. So, yeah. Take this one with a grain of salt, will ya? So, what we are reviewing today is Tincup whiskey, Colorado whiskey, which is 42% ABV. And it comes with this nifty tin cup, which you shouldn't use because it leaks like a fucking Dickens. Now, here's a little thing where I discuss, this is kind of the ones where it's kind of standing on the line a little bit. Oh, fuck. Look at this thing. It's already blurring up again. This is one that kind of stands up on the line where it is actually, it says made with Colorado water. Well, the makers of this whiskey actually are buying it from MGIL, the Lawrenceburg Distillers in Syndicate in Indiana, which distills quite a bit of the bourbon and rye whiskeys you find on the market. They offer several blends, and a lot of people go and buy those blends, mix them for themselves, or bottle them for themselves, or somehow treat them for themselves, either by barreling them further or, adding something. In this case, Colorado water, and saying that they have their own whiskey. This is not necessarily a bad thing, as the whiskeys put out by Lawrenceburg, Indiana, are actually fairly good whiskeys. The thing is that they are, in the end run, juice that's been distilled in Lawrenceburg and often had the bulk of its aging done in Lawrenceburg. So you're only going to get so many dimensions out of it, no matter how hard you try, because you are not, fermenting your own grains, you're not distilling your own grains. So, that said, let's get on to the whiskey, shall we? I haven't made the mistake this time of putting in the ice a little bit too early so it gets too watered down. So I am just going to go and toss in a couple ones right now for the one that we will be having with a dash of water and ice. So this is a fairly nice coppery color. Pretty authentically whiskey in color. And it's got a very interesting nose. First off, you get sort of spicy character. This is a high rye content, about 32% rye, 60% corn, with the leftover share being barley. Then you sort of get that an orange cream smell that's very reminiscent of the drink that you get from Orange Julius. I'm probably dating myself here by referencing Orange Julius, but that's what it kind of smells like, that sort of creamy, orangey smell. There's a hint of mint to it, probably from the rye. And some wood. It's really interesting how the, orange and vanilla, which is usually pretty disparate, kind of blend together in this one. There's hints of other fruits in here. Maybe almost like a berry quality to it. But that's pretty minor in the nose, I find. Let's go and try the chilled version here, which is almost pretty much... God, things are hot here. It's about 78 degrees. And this is dead of winter. So it's typical Hawaiian winter. Chilled, not much smell at all here. Almost nothing at all chilled. So let's go and take a sip before this ice melts even further. Mmm. You know, just with this chilled one, is immediately sweet. Almost like an orange soda quality because of that front end sweetness. Followed by, lightly peppery and a medium woody finish that kind of elongates. Very creamy mouthfeel. I have to say, this is pretty damn good chilled as a cocktail on the rocks. Like this, it's very bourbon-like in content, except where you're feeling that really high rye sort of burn at the end. No, not burn, sort of pepperiness, that spiciness. Burn is kind of different. Burn is a bad thing. There's a hint of a mint in the mid palate. You know that mintiness. But overall, I'd say bourbon notes kind of dominate there. Let's go for the straight. And I'm going to drink some water to clean my palate here. Immediately what stands out is a stronger rye presence in the uncut 42% ABV, 84 proof. There's a minty, peppery, what's the kind of quality of mint we got? I'd say almost spearminty-like quality that arises in the mid palate and then transitions to that typical rye pepperiness. It's not too intense, but it's definitely, the rye is definitely showing its presence here. Now for the front end, there's definitely a creaminess to it, and sort of bourbon notes, and this very enigmatic very enigmatic aromatic kind of smell that's you sense up here, but you don't really get in your mouth or tongue. I'm having difficulty placing, but it's quite pleasant. It's then the rye really kicks in, and it sort of dominates the rest of it, except for the straw. There's quite a bit of woodiness in the long finish here, which is more reminiscent of a bourbon rather than a rye whiskey. Kind of an orangey, citrus thing, but it's not as, it doesn't marry as well with creaminess in the front as it did in sort of the nose. the little gnat is gone. Oh no, there it is. I'm going to try to avoid drinking it. Though he reached a death that I hope to someday aspire to. I'm going to blow my nose to see if I can get a better sense of what's that smell there. When I clear up my palate, upper part here, so I can get a better sense of what that really enigmatic note there is. I don't know, but I really enjoy it. It's almost kind of I wouldn't say perfumey, but I guess, that sort. Perfumey has sort of a feminine kind of aspect. It's not like cologne because there's no muskiness to it. It's definitely a manly smell, but it's very thick and odoriferous and just forms a cloud in there. It's very pleasant. Well, I can't really place it. You're going to have to kind of see this one for yourself. So I'm kind of running out of time here. Anyways, this is Tincup whiskey. As I remind you, it is Lawrenceburg, Indiana juice. That said, it's still very quality, and it's very reasonably priced. You're not going to be paying more for it than you should with the Lawrenceburg juice, which is, you shouldn't be paying more than $25 for the stuff unless, it's been post-treated in a way that's pretty remarkable, like they aged it for another 4 or 5 years in a barrel or something. So it's pretty darn good, as are most of those bulk distilled, as is most of that bulk distilled stuff coming out of Indiana. It's not going to be very different from what you find coming out of Indiana. It's going to have that strong rye presence, and it's not going to be overly surprising to your palate, but it is fun. It is very nice to go and see the different nuances that sort of turn up in this particular whiskey. And I'm starting to realize I'm going to end this on a kind of low note. I got to apologize for how often I kind of blow my nose and snuck myself up. I kind of have a bad post-nasal drip thing, and I know it's kind of gross and will keep me from really ever doing these professionally, but I really want to go and give you the best description of flavor that I have. So, in summation, Tincup, definitely try it on the rocks, try it straight, and I think this would actually make a really, really damn good old-fashioned. So if you're into cocktails, try it in an old-fashioned. Pretty easy to find, pretty cheap. Go out yourself and get it, and hopefully you'll have better luck in drinking it than I did. Let's just say I had Alfred Packer luck. People who know their Colorado history will get that one, won't they? So, that's your whiskey review for tonight, folks. Cheers.